Hi there, welcome to the show. My name is Carmen, and today I'm going to guide you through a wonderful page that I call Dad and Me. And it's actually a tribute to an afternoon that I had that I will really cherish for a very long time. My parents were coming to visit, and I was building a pergola, which is like an arbor structure, but I couldn't get the lattice on straight. So finally I just tacked it up there, and when my parents came, of course my dad goes, "It's crooked." So I incorporated my dad's help. We pulled it all off, put it all back together, and actually it turned out to be a wonderful afternoon of sharing with my dad, learning a little bit more about woodworking, and I'm able to now capture those moments here on this page. We're actually using real wood. We're going to be using a wonderful wood burning tool. Lots of ink layering of paper, as well as some of the wood I crackle to give you just some depth and age and color. So this is how we get started. Of course, we always need our background page, and I was in luck because I was looking for something that was a natural fiber, and I actually found a wood page. It has wood chips pressed into the page. It's great. So now that we've got our background page, now what we need to do is create our title boxes. The background to my title boxes are actually a blue textured cardstock, and then I'm also using a textured watercolor paper. I used the Walnut Hollow Creative Hot Marks tool for wood burning, and I just burn the edges so you get some texturing. See how that kind of comes to life right there? You just press it on, let the tool do the work. It looks like just a textured cardstock, but it's actually a watercolor paper. And why I did that is because I'm going to actually use a distressing ink, which is Fiber Scraps Easy Walnut ink, and it has a wonderful dabber already built into it so you can control it. You don't have to deal with messes all over your hands. And I just started from the edges and worked my way in so that I could always control it. I want the inside of it to be the lightest color, and I want the outside of it to be kind of a little bit darker. And you just press almost like a bingo dabber. It's kind of fun. You just press on it and you create a lot of different layers. See the coloring and the texturing in there? Because it's watercolor paper, I can go back, dab some more on the edges, just to give myself a little bit more texture and darkness along the edges. And it'll dry really wonderful because it'll just kind of seep throughout the whole page. Isn't that wonderful? It gives it all so much depth and dimension. Love that. So now we're going to work on our letter blocking. First we need to create the backgrounds, which is actually little pieces of balsa wood that I actually crackled. This is actually a crackle of just the plain wood with blue paint over it. Now what I used is the Plaid Folk Art Crackle Medium, and just lightly put that on there. And a secret that actually took me a lot of different times of doing crackle is the thicker you put the stuff on, the thicker your cracks will be. The thinner you put this stuff on, the thinner your cracks will be. Once you put that on, you want to let it just get a little bit tacky and dry. You can wait 15, 20 minutes. It actually stays tacky for almost up to 24 hours. So if you feel like you're in a panic about time, don't worry about it. And I want to give you guys big, thick cracks. So I'm going to go ahead and put on thick gobs of paint so that you can see the cracks come to life. And whichever direction you're running your brush is the direction that the cracks will appear. And you don't want to ever go backwards, because if you go backwards, you're not ever going to see the cracks. And shortly, we'll start to see some crackle. A long time ago, painters used to mix water and glue. What happens when glue dries? It stretches. So if you put paint over that glue, it actually stretches the paint. And as you can see, after just a few minutes, the crackle starts to come to life. It'll take a little bit longer, probably about an hour, and it'll look more like this when it's actually dried. We now need to create the letters that are going to go onto the title box. So I've got this here, quickly gonna glue that down just with regular glue stick. I'm gonna askew this just a little bit because I don't want everything to be perfect. I already got perfect boxes with wood and everything. If you look at the letters, I've got the D already burned, and I used a stencil for that. I drew the other freehand with a pencil. So now that we have our background's pretty much set and drying, what I want to do now is finish off this letter. I'm using the wonderful Walnut Hollow Hot Marks tool, and it comes with a variety of tips with different shapes and sizes for shading. I use this particular edge because it's got a really sharp tip for drawing lines, as well as got a flat side so I can actually go in and shade. There's so much you can do with this tool. Just let me give you just a quick look. Here I used a stamp. I stamped the image and then I went back and burned it in with different tips of the Hot Marks tool. Here's another one. This one is freehand. I just kind of drew some leaves and then went back in and shaded them. And with using different tips, you can actually create almost leafing effects. There's one, and there's another. So as you can tell, I had a wonderful afternoon playing with my Hot Marks tool. But let's go on and let me show you how we're gonna do this. Once it's really hot, it will do all the work for you. See how I just barely touch it and just almost use it like you're using a crayon? Now, if you noticed on all of them, what I did is I went ahead and I gave them all an edge by touching my tips here. And I actually like the imperfection. You guys all know that I'm like things to kind of look edgy and raw. So I'm just kind of giving it a little bit of an edge here. And all that does is it makes the image just seem to pop more, meaning the letter that's in there. So now what we're gonna do is actually put together our title block now that we have all of the different elements put together. Just a little bit of glue goes a long way. And again, I'm purposely putting everything just a little askew so that I don't have to go nuts trying to make everything straight, but I also think it gives it a little bit more interesting look. And there's Dad. And so now that we've got that title box done, we're gonna move right over here and actually put together all of our different elements. And I've got these great shots that my mom took while she was watching us build this, kind of laughing at both of us kind of struggling back and forth. You know how it is when two people are working with one piece of wood. One person's left-handed, that's me, and my dad's right-handed. So he's going this way and I'm going the other way. But we got it all together. So quickly put all these pictures in here. And what I did is I created the same blue textured paper, tore it with a ruler and my hand to just give it kind of a tattered edge, but yet to be able to control the straight line. Glue all those into place just like that. And now we're ready to put in all of our title boxes. Now, the title here for Dad. And again, just a little bit crooked because I don't want it to be right on. And so what I did here with this title box is just a little bit different. I inverted the colors of the page. I actually used the watercolor first, then the blue textured, and then the wood. And just because I just didn't want to do it all the same the whole way through, I wanted to kind of create variety, which is exactly what we did with all of the different woods. Here I actually painted the M in white. And you just notice a variety of colors and textures, but they all work together within the page. Glue that down. And then I just wanted to put a little bit of journaling right here for an afternoon I will cherish. And I just simply hand wrote that in and then used the burning tool and I traced it out and created the same effect. I used a little bit of the walnut ink on the wood just to give it a little bit of depth. And then I felt like it wasn't quite done. There was just something missing. So I took these great little snaps and I put them on each corner. And all I did for that was just take a regular hole punch, take the snap, push it through the top, and push in the bottom. It's almost like a snap for a pair of pants. It's really great. It just seems to frame out the page and put the finishing detail on it. So there you have it, the Dad and Me page. Now what we used on this page were great techniques, including the crackle effect, the watercolor paper, and the wood and paper burning. Just the variation of texture and color, the snaps on the corner, the great paper that actually has wood chips on it. Just layers on top of layers to create a wonderful, deep page. Hope you enjoyed that, and I look forward to seeing you guys really soon. Take care.
For step-by-step instructions on how to create this week's project, download the design guide featuring special make-it-your-own bonus tips.